Hey, how's it going, guys? Andy here, back with a Q&A video. Full disclosure, if there's any weird like color aberrations or something like that, it's because this lens, I haven't used this lens in a while. It's been giving me a little bit of issues, but I wanted to use it to capture more of the background. But yeah, today I'm going to do a Q&A video. I asked you guys about a little over a month ago if you guys had any questions or anything like that, so you guys have some great ones, so yeah, let's just jump right into it. So I'm going to start off with the YouTube questions first. First we have a user subscriber, Daru514. I don't know if I said that right. They have 3 questions. Number 1, what is your favorite cereal to eat on Saturday mornings during Saturday morning cartoons? Theirs would be Cocoa Pebbles. Good choice. For me, it would probably be Peanut Butter Captain Crunch. All-time favorite cereal. It's just one of those cereals that is crunchy, it's sweet, it's a little salty, and it takes a little while for it to get soggy. So I do have some Cocoa Pebbles and Fruity Pebbles in my pantry, and they just dog up too fast. But yeah, just Peanut Butter Captain Crunch. You can't really beat it. Their next question is, favorite one-hit wonder from the 90s. Theirs is Hadaway, What Is Love, or Mark Morrison, Return of the Mac. It's on their Spotify playlist, and they're listening to it almost every day. Solid choices. For me, I don't really know. Like, lately, I've been listening to Len a lot, which you might know from their song Steal My Sunshine. I've been listening to that whole album. And Steal My Sunshine is one of those songs, for one, it's catchy, but the whole album is totally different than that. I feel like they were just like, we need a radio hit, and well, they made one, and it was actually good, it's really catchy. But they also have one, I think it's called Junebug. It's very just hip-hoppy and jazzy, super chill, but that whole album is fantastic. So I would definitely say Len is definitely up there with one of those ones that I didn't listen to. I heard that song, Steal My Sunshine, but that was really about it. But going back and listening to it now, definitely top notch. Check them out. I'll leave, I believe there's either a playlist or the whole album on YouTube, so I'll leave that link down below. Their last question is, if you could turn back time in the 90s, which part of your childhood do you want to relive again? This took me a lot of time to think about because there's a lot of things in my childhood that I don't want to relive, and it's all kind of mingled and intertwined in my life. So it's a really tough question to answer. If I had to say anything, summer times were always the best. In elementary school. First, second, third grade summertime was always fantastic. But like I said, there was a lot of personal things. I was also sick a lot, and I was having a lot of surgeries, just ear surgery, nothing insane. So because of that, like, it just wasn't the best. But summer times is always like the best because, for one, I used to go to New Jersey almost every summer. Sometimes it would be for just like 2 or 3 weeks, other times it would be like the whole summer, which is that feeling of summer as a kid, which I was actually talking to somebody about this, one of my friends, and like I was just trying to describe like the feeling. It was like this warmth feeling, just as a kid in general, just in the 90s, like that's exactly how I felt too. So maybe that's just how the 90s felt, or maybe that's just how being a kid feels. I don't know, but that's like the type of feeling that I've been trying to capture with this channel, which I know it kind of swerves away a little bit from your question, but yeah, I'd probably just say summertime or just first, second grade. Third grade, I was a troublemaker, so I don't want to live through that. But if I go back and like redo it, I would definitely be a good kid. So hopefully that answers that question. Next up, we have a retro gamer, RH4EL. What is your favorite 90s show? What is your all-time favorite 90s show? Easy. Boy Meets World. Boy Meets World is just one of those shows. It's actually one of my favorite shows of all time. I can just put it on and I just find it hilarious. There's like serious moments, funny moments. I know the continuity in the show isn't the best, but it's just one of those shows, like, any type of mood I'm in, I could put it on and it could cheer me up. Like, I was really struggling after I graduated high school, like, with what I wanted to do, like, as far as, like, college or school or, like, career-wise, and I would watch the later seasons, and it really just kind of helped me just get through that, like, mental block that I was having. So yeah, Boy Meets World, absolutely fantastic. Highly recommend it. It's also on Disney Plus, which what I have it on. We have Skater Guy 8904. Do you think nostalgia can be bad? Yes, I do. So I know it's a little bit weird because that's like my whole channel is just nostalgia from the 90s. But it definitely can be bad. So it can be very good. It can be very beneficial in my experience and just from like talking to people. But it definitely can be bad. Like, if all you're focusing on is how everything now sucks and everything was better back then, you're missing out on a whole bunch of great stuff that's potentially happening to you, but you're just so blinded by, you know, how you feel towards the past, and you're just missing out on a lot of really good things. Like, believe it or not, I don't really, outside of like YouTube and like making videos, like a lot of my life is in just modern time. Like, yeah, I have all these movies and video games and like some toys and stuff, but you do need to take a break from it, and that's what I try to do. I try to separate myself, this way I'm not just overwhelmed and like that's all I'm doing. Like, I watch modern shows, I have a modern car, you know, I like technology, like I have, you know, newer computers and stuff like that. So you do have to kind of separate yourself from that. But yeah, nostalgia, it can be a really good thing, can definitely help you through some stuff. It's helped me, it's helped, you know, some of my friends, but it can also be very bad if that's all you're focusing on. Like I said, if you're just like, everything sucks, the past was the best. Personally, I would say go to therapy. Not in like a bad way, like, oh, you're crazy, but you do have to kind of break that mindset. And going to therapy is not a bad thing. I've been in therapy quite a few times in my life. Throughout my childhood, I was in therapy. And even as an adult, like, I've gone to therapists and I've had some therapy sessions. So definitely look into that. There's nothing wrong with that. But yeah, it just, like I said, it just kind of depends on how you view nostalgia and all that good stuff. I plan on doing a podcast. I'm looking for a co-host. I think one of my friends is going to be down. But that's something I think we will kind of go into. That's definitely a topic I want to go into a little bit more. And I do have some friends that are therapists. So I definitely want to get their opinion and just kind of see what they think. But that's how I feel. I definitely think you need a little bit of a break. Don't, like I said, don't just focus so much on the past. Because again, you're missing out on a lot of really great stuff. Yeah, there's a lot of shitty things in the world right now. But again, there's a lot of good things too that you are potentially missing out on. All right, then we have Johnny Cage 3043. Is there something from your childhood that you wish you still owned? Yes, everything. So, as you get older and stuff like that, you obviously get rid of stuff. When I was growing up, we had a ton of toys. There was 5 boys, so there was me and 4 of my brothers, and then I had a sister. We had, just between all of us, so much stuff, and I'm just like, man, I wish I still had like my Beetleborg toys, or my Power Rangers, or my Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, my original Pokemon cards. We had so many wrestling toys, like an insane amount. Like, we're hardcore into WCW, NWO. That, after like 3rd grade, that kind of faded out for me. I was just like, I'm good. Yeah, just all that. Oh, all my video games, not my video games, our video games, because we had a lot. Not like a crazy amount, but my older brother had a ton of RPGs on Super Nintendo and PS1. We had a really good N64 collection. I have most of those games back now, but it would be cool to have my original ones. You know, Pokemon games that were stolen from me, or that were traded. Yeah, so basically everything. But if I had to choose just one thing, It's not really 90s, it's more early 2000s, my Beyblade collection. So I was, after 5th grade, I believe it was, that's when all my friends were like into Beyblades. One of my friends gave me one and I was like obsessed with it. I loved the toys, the show, so that's what I was always getting. So up until, probably like 7th grade, like I was still buying them. And I had pretty much the whole original set with the boxes. And then just sometime in high school, my stepmom, she got rid of them. I didn't really care. I'm like, well, should have asked. But yeah, that, and I'd probably actually say my flute. I did used to play flute in elementary school and middle school. And then I was just like, oh, this isn't cool anymore. And I got rid of it. I kind of regret doing that. So eventually I will get another flute and relearn how to play because, it's cool. Last question for the YouTube comments. This is from the Wolf Guy 8201, Pokemon or Digimon? For me, I would have to say Pokemon. That's just something I gravitated more towards. I always kind of viewed Digimon as like a ripoff of Pokemon because there was a little bit of that. And I don't know, I just wasn't really into it. Like, we watched it a little bit and we had some of the toys, and then we also had some of the trading cards. But again, we gravitated more towards Pokemon and like Dragon Ball Z. But going back and watching Digimon now, I'm like, man, I wish I would have watched it a little bit more because it's really good. It's actually like fantastic. So yeah, but yeah, Pokemon. All right, and then I have some questions from Instagram. This comes from Debt Free Joe. What was your favorite Nickelodeon and Cartoon Network show? For Cartoon Network, that's a tough one because there's a couple different ways I can go. Because they played a lot of the old like Hanna-Barbera cartoons, like Scooby-Doo. There's also a lot of like Looney Tunes, so I could like go like that route. But they also had like Dexter's Lab, Ed, Edd and Eddy, Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy. Then they also had like Toonami, so it's like I could pick an anime. But if we're just talking about Cartoon Network exclusives, I would probably say Dexter's Lab and Ed, and Eddy, and probably Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy, which was a little bit later. But those two were just absolutely great. I mean, all those cartoons on Cartoon Network were fantastic. I don't think there were some bad ones. Maybe in like the Adult Swim era, maybe. But for the most part, Cartoon Network, all their cartoons were fantastic. For Nickelodeon, again, there's so many different ways I can go. I could go cartoon and live action. Cartoon would be Hey Arnold, hands down, especially now. If you would have asked me back then, it would have been Rocket Power. But Hey Arnold is just absolutely fantastic. I've gone on about that show and how much I love it. But live action shows, I would say probably Kenan and Kel. And that's one of the shows that I watched the most. And it's just hilarious. Like, I'll put it on now and I'll just watch it. And there's just so many jokes that I probably didn't get as a kid. I'm just like, oh, well, that's hilarious. So pretty great. Also, my little brother and I will occasionally just say, I dropped the screw in the tuna. Like, he'll just randomly just like yell it at me. I'm just like, whoa, man, chill.
I dropped the screw in the tuna.
It's from an episode of Kenan and Kel if you've never seen it. Funny episode. All right, last questions from Mimi. What is your favorite Pokemon? That's very easy. It is going to be Typhlosion. Ever since, I played Gen 2, I always gravitated towards Cyndaquil and then just Typhlosion. Like, I always had Typhlosion in my party. I don't know why I like it so much. I just really like the design. I think he's just a great Pokemon. Yeah, Typhlosion, hands down, all-time favorite. Well, that's gonna do it for this question and answer video, this Q&A video. If you guys enjoyed it, if you guys want me to do another one, definitely feel free to leave some comments down below. I'll definitely, make another video answering them. But with that being said, you guys rock, stay rad. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.